Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. My name is Michael and in today's video we are going to be taking a look at my very first budget with me video and process for the year of 2022. If you are new here to my channel, thank you so much for clicking on this video, and I would recommend that you might want to consider subscribing to the channel if you like content like this, as I usually post videos weekly regarding paying off my student loan debt in full, along with hopefully one day increasing my net worth to over $1 million. With this also being one of the first videos I post in the new year, I will be sure to leave a link down in the description to give you guys a little brief overview of what this year is going to look like in terms of my money goals and what I'm going to be pursuing with my own financial status coming in 2022. But without any further ado, let's go ahead and take a look at my spreadsheet for the month of January in 2022. So here we are looking at my budget spreadsheet for the month of January, and longtime viewers of this channel may notice a little bit of kind of a change that has gone on here. It's not a super huge change. I basically just cleaned up some of my expense column items because some of the things that were in there from December were only really pertinent for December and Christmas. So I took those out of the spreadsheet. Also, you might notice this blue box up here labeled sinking funds. This is because if you watched my latest money goals video, one of the things that I'm really trying to implement this year in 2022 as a way to relieve some stress and maybe even a little bit of anxiety that comes along with the whole financial realm and getting my finances under wrap is the whole process of needing to save up for big purchases. As you may know, sometimes big purchases can just kind of creep up on you, like Christmas, where you're going to be spending more money than you probably thought you were. And if you are saving throughout the year for those times when you know you're going to have to spend more money, then it can really eliminate stress for you, or so I've heard from other people who implement stuff like this into their budget, this sinking fund process. So we will go over those sinking funds in just a second. But let's first take a look at some of the basics of what we need to be looking at when it comes to budgeting. This isn't an exact how-to on how to budget. There are other videos out there for that, but I'm sure if you watch this, you'll get the process of the basic budgeting principles that you need to know when you go ahead and budget for the month. So the first thing we need to take a look at is my income column right here, the green column, and I've only been paid once yet this month, and my paycheck so far has been pretty decent. We'll see what it is next. I think next week is when I get my second paycheck, but so far we had a paycheck of $2,500, $1,725, and it just broke my spreadsheet. There we go. All right, sorry about that, guys. So as you can see, my spreadsheet kind of spits out the difference of what I have planned versus my actual income. And as you can see that the difference was $417 extra that I didn't actually plan for in my budget, which is totally fine. We will take needing to plan for extra money any day rather than having to plan for less money. Like I just said, we don't have paycheck number 2 coming in yet. It's, I believe, going to be coming in next Friday, so we will leave that line item blank. Moving down to my side hustle, I haven't yet figured out how to even implement this into this spreadsheet, or I guess I should say which month to implement it on. Many of you know I've talked about my new side hustle that I am doing. I'm going to be working with kids in my local school district. I'm an occupational therapist, so I'm going to be providing occupational therapy services to them. But the kind of tricky aspect is that you get paid on a monthly basis. So you get paid once per month for what you did the previous month. So I don't think I'm going to be putting in any items into the side hustle for January, but come February, we will see some numbers start popping into that side hustle column, which will be really encouraging. As many of you know, on this channel, extra income is used for getting out of my student loan debt as quickly as possible. So any extra income we can get from the side hustle will be awesome and greatly appreciated. Moving on down from there to my dividends. To be honest with you, I don't really know if I should continue to keep this in here as a line item. I kind of want to, just because I want it always on my mind that the whole purpose of getting out of debt quickly is so that I can start making larger payments towards, larger contributions towards investing, which will then increase this dividend number. So I think I'm going to keep it in here for the time being, but we're not really going to see any rapid changes with the dividend column at this point in time. We don't really have any miscellaneous money to add here. I usually just leave this in here as something if it was like a birthday month and I got birthday money or Christmas money or something like that. We did that last month for December, but I don't think there's really going to be any miscellaneous money coming in as far as I know. If anyone wants to send money, go right ahead. And then cash back, I believe for this month, I just checked my credit card statement. I used the Amazon Prime credit card. And this month, I believe we're going to have around $15 and I think it was 30 cents come in. So nothing crazy there, but definitely helpful. If anything, it covers the Amazon Prime membership fee, so whatever. Before we go on and tackle this sinking funds column, we're just going to quickly go down through my expense column, as nothing has changed too much there, but I'll just kind of run with you guys and tell you if there's been any updates to any of these items. So far, mortgage is the same. It's $1,059 a month. Internet is the same at $64. I've kind of listed them in here on both the planned and the actual side if I have already paid them. That's why some of them are going to be left blank and some of them have numbers already inputted. Water is a bi-monthly expense, and I don't believe it's due this month because I paid it last month. Yes, I just quickly went back and checked and I paid it last month. So it's not due this month, which is good. Car insurance is the same, around $105. My phone for my wife and I is $101. Student loans is $800. That's the bare minimum that I put towards student loans. I always say this, I know I sound like a broken record, but for those of you who are new and are watching this for the first time, the $800 here is the bare minimum that I put towards my student loan accounts each month. Well, right now it's just one account, which is the private loans I have with Sallie Mae, because the government loans are still in deferment until May. And what I do, the whole point in me actually setting up this budget isn't just so I have household income stability and financial stability when it comes to my finances, but it's also so that at the end of the month I can see whatever is left over and then contribute that large chunk of money, hopefully it's a large chunk of money, to getting rid of and paying extra on my student loans that are due, so that I can get out of them as quickly as possible. So this student loan account right here where it says, or this student loan column where it says $800, that's just the bare minimum. We are going to be contributing more than that each month. The electric bill, this is one of them that you might be noticing is a little different than what it has been. Now, before you go thinking that I've in December ran up my electric bill, I didn't. Apparently there has been some miscalculations in the area that I live in, which is why it's very important for me to start doing meter readings. I know I've said it like a broken record here on the channel, but I have yet to do it. I don't know why. I'm dragging my feet with this, but we actually had another family we know who lives locally, kind of in our area, and their electric bill, they actually posted this on Facebook, was more than double what they pay every month. And which is weird because it's not like you changed anything. Yeah, you might have had the heat running, but it's not going to be so much that it's going to be literally double what you typically pay. I actually didn't change any of the electrical patterns that I typically do in my house in terms of the amount of time that the heat's running. It hasn't changed. I can actually monitor that and check it. I think what this was a miscalculation on my meter by the electric company. I'm going to be giving them a call to see if there's any way that this can be adjusted, and if it can't be, if it can be then contributed towards my next payment and have that reduced, which would probably be zero, because as longtime viewers of this channel know, I've never had an electric bill that high. That's double what I typically pay. I budget for 200 bucks, but usually I think the highest it's ever been is 150, and $300 is, actually I think it's like $299. It's just under 300, which there wasn't really a change in my behavior or patterns with the house that would cause that. So we're gonna have to give them a call and see if we can reduce that. Next up, the next line item on here is groceries, and as many other homeowners, and I guess you don't even have to be a homeowner, grocery buyers have noticed with this new year is that grocery prices are getting more and more expensive. In fact, everything is getting more and more expensive at feels like a very rapid rate. Today, I actually went to the dump, the landfill, to dispose of my garbage because I take it there. But I went there today and the price of bags to pay for went up like $3. And so I went up there trying to get 4 bags and I can only buy 3. And it was all like weird price increases anyway. But I guess that's just part of life and part of inflation and other weird political stuff. But that's where we're at. I haven't put in the price yet for groceries because the month isn't over yet. I think we're somewhere actually probably around this 200 bucks already because we bought a lot of groceries, and we're trying to, with it being a new year, trying to eat healthier. And one of the things we've noticed with eating healthier is that it's a little bit more expensive. Well, kind of a lot of it more expensive, at least in these winter months when I can't replicate in the garden stuff that we would eat. But the other thing is that we are buying more frequently because getting healthy, fresh items, you have to kind of buy not so much in bulk as you can with stuff that can be stored for longer periods of time. So the grocery budget's probably going to have to be readjusted. We are going to take a look at it at the end of the month and see how much we actually spent towards groceries. And I know it's going to be over $200, unfortunately. Next up, we just have a simple item, Amazon Prime. I include that in here because that is one of my expenses. I know it seems silly and whatever, but we are going to be including that. The other thing I have to include, and as I said, Amazon Prime, it just clicked in my brain. I actually just got a gym membership with Planet Fitness. It's not too expensive. It's gonna be $10 a month, and I didn't even have to pay to get signed up, so I don't even have to include that in the budget yet, but I will probably next month add that as another line item in there so that I can keep track of that. Thankfully, it's not gonna be super expensive. There's other gyms I would like to go to that are more local. The Planet Fitness is like 15 minutes away from me. There's other gyms that are like 2 minutes away from me, but they are considerably more expensive, like 4 to 5 times more expensive, which I don't find as worth it. I'd rather drive the 15 minutes, get pumped up in the car with some exciting music, than drive 2 minutes and pay 60 bucks a month. Anyway, we got gas. Gas I have not inputted into here to the actual column because I'm going to be tallying that up at the end of the month. It's just easier than trying to make 2 videos where I tally it up separately. Just tally it up all at once. It's probably going to be more than this, or I don't know. I actually don't know yet because gas prices, knock on wood. No, don't knock on wood. I don't know. But they're starting to come back down a little bit. The gas station I go to, I think, is $3.25. A lot of the other gas prices in places locally is still around that $3.40 mark, which is still crazy high comparatively to where we were last year at this time, where I could probably get away with spending half that amount of gas each month, or half that amount of money towards gas each month. Next up on here, we have my restaurant budget, and I know this is kind of the more non-essential item on my budget list, but I just like to include it just so I know where my money's going. And I'm the type of person, I don't really like to spend a lot of money on eating out, so this kind of keeps me in track with that. So far, my wife and I have only spent $5 towards eating out. We had a gift card that we used at Texas Roadhouse, and all we had to pay for was $5 after using the gift card. So that helped out a lot. As you can see, these numbers don't quite make much sense yet because we haven't added anything to the income column in my second paycheck, and I didn't really look at it too hard, but our expenses probably a little bit they outweigh our income at the moment because we haven't inputted any other paycheck. But you guys know how this process works. I have my spreadsheet set up so that it's all automatically calculated. Whatever I put in for income then goes towards contributing down here at the expense side of things. And by the end of it, this number should be in the positive, and it should give us a number that we can then contribute towards paying off more student loan debt. The whole purpose of me doing this in the first place, this budgeting. The third thing I would like to point your guys' attention to is this new item I've added here into my budget spreadsheet. I just thought this was the most appropriate place to put it. Didn't really want to put it in my debt tracker or my net worth. I don't think that's really appropriate for it to go, so I put it into the budget spreadsheet, but that is my sinking funds. As I mentioned in my most recent posted video, my money goals for 2022, I want to start adding sinking funds, which are basically just line items in a budget that you place money in, whether it be in an online savings account or in an envelope, wherever. It basically frees up your time, your energy, and your money for that month, that whatever the expense becomes due in, so that way it doesn't impact your budget in a negative fashion. If you plan for it in advance and you start saving for it in advance, it becomes a whole lot easier, it's a less of a headache, and it just works out better. People make sinking funds for a whole host of things, whether it be car maintenance or house repair or whatever you think you'll have to spend money on someday. But the three items that I am saving for at the current time are vacation. We're gonna be taking a vacation in March, and so this one probably won't get filled too highly, but I want to start adding to that one, I guess, as quickly as possible. And then we have a Christmas sinking fund. I know I'm talking about Christmas in January, but if I start saving for Christmas now, when it comes time in December or in November to start buying presents, I will have money to do so, and it won't negatively impact my budget then. And the third item in here is, it just says baby. Now, we're not expecting yet, but the purpose of adding this in here is so that when we do start trying to have a kid, and when we are expecting, which is not right now, I gotta make that point clear because I know family members watch this channel. If we start saving now, it will be less of a financial stressor when the time comes. So I know that whatever amount of money I put into there will probably never be enough. That's just kind of the nature of that situation. But if we start saving for it now, like with the others, it will be less of a financial stressor. I'm the type of person that whenever a situation happens in life, whatever it is, I tend to first go and look at how does this impact me financially, which isn't always the best attitude to have, I understand that. But by doing this process with sinking funds, I kind of set up bumper rails so that I don't drift over into feeling anxious or feeling stressed or worried about it. It's kind of like this safeguard for me. At least that's how I think about it. I just try to be prudent in these times when things are going well, so that in times when I have more expenses, I can then divvy up the money as needed for those. So the plan with these sinking funds is to add a certain amount of money each month towards them, and I'm gonna be subtracting that from my income. Now for vacation, because that one is coming the most quickly, I think each month I'm gonna be putting, I have like 3 months until then, I'm gonna be adding around at least $50, $75, maybe even $100 towards that, depending on how the rest of my finances are going. That way, when vacation comes at the end of March, we will be well funded for that. For the line item of Christmas here, I think the best thing, one of my viewers actually suggested in a comment to put down $50 a month for that. That way, by the time November comes around, which is usually when you start buying Christmas presents, I'll have around $550 to begin using for Christmas shopping, which I think is pretty good for the amount of people I buy for. And down here for baby, I haven't yet quite decided. I think maybe also contributing $50 or $25 to $50 a month for that. Because I've set this one up as a year goal, not as like a couple month goal. That's like a year goal at this point. So we will see where we are there. Maybe I should increase it I'll talk to some other families who have been in that situation before, and we will know what to do from there. And I'm gonna take a quick break because my wife is coming up the stairs.
What's wrong?
I'm in the recording.
I'm sorry. I had a small break, so I figured I'd call and say hi.
Okay. I'm almost done. As I already mentioned, I'm gonna be posting a second update this month once I know what my second paycheck is and maybe even some of the side hustle income. But until then, thank you guys so much for watching and sticking around until the very end, where you guys got to watch me talk about my new sinking funds column, and we will see how that column grows in the future. But I will see you in the next video. Take care. That's where the take care comes from.